A number of years ago, when my wife and I just had one child, there was a time that we were going to go grocery shopping. And we went out to the car and we started the car and we were ready to go, and we realized forgetting something. And do you know what it was we forgot? We forgot our little baby girl who was in her car seat on the kitchen floor. Thankfully, we didn't we didn't get too far. We didn't actually get out of the garage before we realized that, and we went back to get her. I don't know how many times over the course of our time as a family, now that we have 5 children, we've been sitting in the vehicle and we've been cycling through okay, what are we forgetting? And then we get to well, who are we forgetting? And we look at each of the individuals and we realize, oh, we're still waiting for somebody who's still inside the house and still hasn't come. And we'd leave for our family vacation if we had forgotten them. There was a time, not all that long ago, I was picking up one of my children from a sports practice at their school. And I put the car into drive and I started driving away, and they were still only halfway into the vehicle. And thankfully, nothing bad happened, and we never actually ended up forgetting anything. But I guess I'm surprised as a parent how often I need to remember to not forget my own children. The sobering part of that as a parent is that when you forget something, it means it's not a priority. When you forget something, when something's not on your mind, something else is. Something else is a higher priority, or something else is more immediately at the forefront of your mind. And if something else is, then something else isn't. And as a parent, maybe I'm the only one, but as a parent, sometimes that was my own children. I bring that up because in Deuteronomy chapter 6, right after God assures the Israelites that he's going to be gracious to them and giving them houses they didn't build and gardens that they didn't plant and all sorts of these wonderful things that they didn't earn or deserve, he says, but don't forget me. Don't forget the Lord your God. And he's basically saying, make me a priority. The God who gives you all these things, the God who is gracious to you, make me a priority. And as we keep reading through the book of Deuteronomy, and not just the book of Deuteronomy, but all the books in the Old Testament, they were really bad at that. There were many times that they didn't make him a priority, which is maybe why one of the constant themes in the book of Deuteronomy is, remember me, remember me, remember me, the Lord says. And I don't know how well you do that. I don't know. You know better than I do. If you remember the Lord's gracious promises from day to day, if you remember Jesus' invitation to give all of your burdens to him, if you remember that you're forgiven, if you remember that he's been thinking about you for a long time, he knit you together in your mother's womb, if you remember that there's nothing in all creation that can stand between you and God because of what Jesus has done for you, I don't know if you do a good job or a bad job of remembering on a day-to-day basis that God makes sure that all things, even the tough things, work together for your good. But whether you do a good job or a bad job of remembering God and making him a priority, just try not to forget the second half of what he said in that same verse in Deuteronomy chapter 6, where he said, remember the Lord your God, who brought you up out of Egypt. And remember that they were in Egypt for over 400 years. And I bet there were a lot of times that the Israelites thought, man, I bet God has forgotten about me. I bet I'm not God's priority. But God didn't forget. And they were his priority. He remembered them. And he saved them, just like he said he would. And he was there for them, and he was thinking about them the whole time, just as he's always thinking about you. He always remembers you. Just as he promised on the day when the Son of God was hanging on a cross, thinking about you. When nobody would have blamed him for just thinking about himself and taking himself down, but he didn't. He kept himself there. so that you would have one place to which you can always look and know that God will always remember you with his greatest love, with his greatest grace. And he will always remember all of his promises. And the more we remember all those things, the more we'll never forget, I guess. The God who remembers you. Rest well tonight, my friends. God remembers you.